This is the Running Channel Podcast with Rick Kelsey, Andy Baddeley and Sarah Hartley. One of us has achieved reaching the Olympic Games. The other one has achieved getting their single played on a BBC radio music station. And the other one has achieved the success of listening to the other two and surviving this podcast for 73 episodes.
76 episodes.
76. All right. It was almost good until then.
Oh, you've got one job.
No, we'll keep it. I really enjoyed
Did you
that
like
intro
that?
though. Yeah, that was
all right,
lovely.
thanks
If
very
only
much.
you could read the number of
Oh,
episodes
yes,
at the
it
top of
says
the page.
76 on the paper.
What are we going to be doing today? What are we going to be talking about?
How to run a fast 5K.
Yes, because we haven't heard the end of it. Last week, Andy went and ran a very, very fast 5K, and he's going to be breaking it down, letting us know what happened. We're going to talk about how to run a fast 5K, and then hopefully he'll shut up until he runs another one.
Okay,
Good beat to
agreed.
that.
Yeah, let's get into it. Before we get into it,
Yes.
Oh.
I've got something for you guys. This is a nice thing.
Oh,
So
go
we've
on.
been talking about comments and reviews we've had on the podcast before.
Yeah.
So I've got some lovely reviews from a recent one. This is on YouTube. So we had a message which was, despite recent comments about too much banter or Rick being too dumb in the podcast, brackets, I think it's just the right amount of
Just
banter
one of my
and
other
playing
bosses.
to the audience. Yeah. Can I say that the Running Channel Meets series has really allowed us to see Rick's serious and humane journalistic side and a level of intelligence and seriousness not projected in the regular weekly podcasts. Keep it up. And he says this week's episode of Meets almost had them in tears.
Oh,
That
that's
is
lovely.
Also, so the episode of Meets that they're talking about there is when me and Rick had the pleasure of interviewing Ant Bryan earlier this year. Incredible runner who took on London Marathon and tried to run a world record. And I won't spoil it, but genuinely highlight of my week is
Yeah.
the people that we get on for Meets. We didn't want to just get the people who you usually hear from who are runners. We wanted a real mix of people who you might never heard of, incredible, inspiring stories. And that, I think, we've done it. Not
Yeah.
to
you can
blow our own trumpet.
You
but I
can
think
find
that was
them in
pretty good.
the Running Channel feed, the same podcast feed as usual, wherever you're listening to us. Slightly different artwork, so you can identify it that way. And we're still doing this, the normal
Yeah.
podcast every week.
Mm-hmm.
But in addition to that, there is the occasional regular episode of the Running Channel Meets.
Yeah, it's been really good fun, hasn't it?
So
And
much fun.
some of the other guests that we've got coming up, they come from all different kind of walks of life. So we have got some famous names, but, you know, like Andy was saying, also some people who've got incredible stories and amazing backgrounds, like Ant Bryan, who've done mind-blowing things. Sarah, tease who we've got coming up.
Oh, right. Teasing. We have a very famous drummer from a very famous band.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have probably one of the most famous doctors that you might have heard
Yeah.
of. We also have someone who is running a very, very long way for a very, very, very
yeah.
special cause.
And who, in talking to that person, Rick and I spent most of the episode in tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a monologue because you guys were
Oh my goodness.
lost for words.
So powerful though. Absolutely amazing.
Such a good episode and lots more.
Yeah, I'm really
Lots
excited
more.
about them coming out.
Well, actually, before we get into the podcast,
Yeah.
I've got a little surprise for both of you,
Oh, gosh.
which might involve us having to do some clever editing, or rather just pausing and then appearing, looking slightly different.
What's coming up?
So I'm going to just have to slightly move my mic as I bend down here. I've got a present for you both. I've got a present. Oh, Sarah's excited because I think she knows what they might be. Right, so Sarah's laughing. So for anyone that's not watching on YouTube, I've got a gift for Sarah here, and I've got a
Andy.
gift for Rick here, and I'm hoping that they can tell you what they are. So they've both got a long sleeve T-shirt, and what does it say on the front and the back?
My God, it says, I came here for the science, but all I got was this useless band.
That is so
Andy,
good.
do you know I was going to try and get one of these made for your birthday?
Oh, I've ruined that then.
Great minds.
Andy, stop.
That's so cool, mate. I
Oh,
love that.
thank you. We
Yeah.
will, if you are just listening to this, then go check out the version on YouTube where you can see it. You can see our little faces loving live.
I'm
and
tempted
we'll
to
put
make
it
us
on.
pause and put them all on, but that's up to you as to whether you're too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sweat through it, but yeah.
Okay.
Quick pause. I think this is the happiest day of my life.
How did you know what size we were?
Hey, I'm just a good judge of character.
Have you been looking in our clothes again?
That's made it very strange.
Looking
But
in our clothes.
look at us, we're all matching.
This is great. I love it.
People should comment if they'd like us to sell this merch, or if you'd like to buy a kind of limited edition, and then we can make that happen.
Did we explain where this statement came from?
So yeah, we had a 1-star review a few weeks ago that we were
yes,
talking about,
1-star.
with a lovely 1-star review, and it says, "I came here for the science, but all I got was this useless banter."
Yeah.
So I thought we'd
We're
own it.
really leaning into this.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
It's sort of, I think if you don't want to cry, you have to laugh about it.
Yeah, 100%. So if anyone else wants to give us some quotes that we can knock off into merch, different one each week.
So there you go. I feel very, hopefully this isn't too boring a listen because I just give you a nice gift and you feel very happy. But
So good.
Sarah, have you been doing any running?
I have been doing some running. So I've been coming back nice and slowly. I'm basically now in a
Nice
bit
and slowly? How far did you run when we were talking about it last week's episode?
Yeah. So from that,
Okay.
I've now been coming back in nice and slowly.
Right.
Essentially, I feel like post-marathon, I've been in such a limbo of like haven't really known what I'm training for, have been a bit stuck. But actually, I'm now fully like embracing just like rest and recover for a couple of weeks, and then 8 weeks out from Big Half next week.
God, is it 8 weeks out?
Yeah, I'm going to start
scary.
training. But I have a really sad announcement to make.
Go on.
This year, after running a marathon, after running an ultra marathon, after completing my yearly distance goal on Strava of 1,000 kilometres, whoop whoop, I've sadly lost my big toenail.
Oh, this
Oh,
is
gosh.
this had happened during your or like post marathon, I think.
Yeah, and I just like a little moment of silence for the fact that it held on for as long as it could.
I mean, this is
And
disgusting.
then last night in bed, I was
came
like,
off.
oh, that feels weird on the duvet, and it just
Came
fell,
off. Well, it's
fell
probably-
straight
it's been
off.
dead for a while, hasn't it?
It has
you-
been dead for a while. I did paint it though.
Oh, did you? Well, the
In-
dead one.
Yeah, I painted
once
the
you
dead
took
one.
it off,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
painted it like a little face or something. Are you keeping it?
No, oh my god, no. I will I'm so sorry if you're eating. Maybe stop right now. But like anyone, I feel like this is a thing with runners that like you sometimes your toenail will fall off. If anyone can understand what that smells like,
Oh, Sarah, no.
That is too much.
then
It's too far.
welcome to the toenail club. It's bad.
It's too far.
So,
Does it smell
so I
worse?
haven't kept it.
Does it smell worse than just you normally?
Yeah, which is impressive. I didn't think it could get any worse.
I mean, it's a good job that no one else has to endure that. Just me and Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty awful.
Well, I've got a fresh t-shirt on now, so
Yeah, exactly.
it'll
You
be
know,
alright
it
for about
takes.
5
I think it
minutes.
takes about 8 months or something for a toenail to grow back.
Does
I
it?
think it's quite a long
Well,
time.
I'm going on holiday next week.
Yeah.
Bit gutted. But anyway, how's your week of running been?
Good. So obviously, I had the folliculitis, the infection of the hair
Oh yeah, we're
follicles.
back in our normal seats again
So
because
we're back in our normal
Mr. Vane
yeah.
over there is happy with that side
Yeah.
being his best side again.
So I was on antibiotics, and so I was wondering if that was going to affect my running at all. I don't think it did, but obviously we've been having like freezing cold, bizarre weather in Britain.
Yes.
The last few weeks,
Which is why
non-summer-like
Andy got us
conditions,
long
which is why he's got the long
sleeves.
sleeves.
Long sleeves for the summer.
So which is actually though been quite good for running because obviously it's your kind of temperature
Yeah.
for running,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
normal June temperature. So I've been doing a fair bit of distance work, a fair bit of up and down on those big North London hills, and
He's still banging on about that.
yeah, I feel like I'm kind of that level when you're going, oh, you know what. You kind of get a bit gutted if you're not kind of hitting close to your PB every week, but you can't PB every single week.
I think we need to put you into a bit of a training block.
Yeah.
Why
I
do you
think you
say
need I think you need to be working towards a clear date.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think we need to give you a date and we need to give you something to work towards, and then that's going to stop you from trying to PB a 5k every weekend, and it's going to give you a little bit of focus,
A bit of purpose. We
Bit
talked
of
about this, didn't
purpose.
we? Like everyone needing
bit of an
some
end
purpose.
goal, a
Go on,
bit of
which-
a peak, a bit of a trough.
So what are you talking about?
10K
I
or
think
half?
a 10k.
Yeah.
I think we need to see Rick Kelsey what's your 10k PB?
52.
I think we need to see a 51.
And what are you running? What's your
59.
latest PB over 5k? 23 something?
23:08.
Okay, I think.
So that means you can run 46:16.
Oh yeah, that's the maths. We just double
That's
it.
genuinely
right.
when I first started running. That's what I used to
double
do.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
keep.
Double up and add, 20-30 seconds?
No, just
Yeah.
double it.
Just double it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do
just,
it once,
just negative
just do it
split.
again.
Just go fast. the second
Yeah,
5K.
I'm all in. I'm negative split it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was joking. Go off at PB 5k.
You know when
and
you
then
hear
pick it
something
up.
5 seconds later?
Yeah, you're like, so
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I'm all in.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great.
right.
okay.
Well, we'll find one for you.
We'll
a
come
nice flat
back.
one.
Yeah, next week we'll get the date set, and each week you can get a little training diary update from Rick.
All in.
That
All
sounds
in.
that sounds great. So we need to search out the best possible 10k for you to run. But I had spent the last few months searching out the best possible, I hoped, 5k for me to run.
Lovely segue.
Thank you, mate.
Love
All
that.
about
Love
you.
Yeah,
So
bring it back to
yeah.
me. Let's talk about me.
So let's start off with why did you want to run a fast 5k?
I'd done the marathon in December, then had a few weeks off to recover, and then the improvement and that kind of motivation I got from the training, all of a sudden I was like, yeah, I felt like kind of my old self in terms of the running and feeling motivated to get out there. And so in the new year, I thought, I can commit to an extra run a week instead of 3 runs a week for the marathon. I can see what that allows me to do, and then I can train for a 5K and see. Someone planted the seed that, could I run a certain time for 5K? And at that point, the most recent park run or 5K that I'd done was outside 17 minutes, or maybe just inside 17 minutes, and I hadn't gone under 16 minutes since 2017.
Andy,
So the target was to go under 16 minutes.
so just reminding people, your record for parkrun that was held for 11 years was 13 minutes, Sarah, 48?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
13:48, and my road 5K PB is, and will always be, 13:45. And then I ran a bit quicker on around 13:20 on the track.
Big numbers, so no pressure.
No, none at all. But then I'm back in the real world of like what I can fit in around family and all of that sort of stuff. And I just really I'm sure that you can hear it in the podcast following the marathon, maybe with a little bit of a dip. But then over the last few months, I've just been super motivated to get out and run. And I've been enjoying going back into the type of training which is in my comfort zone because I like doing that stuff. But the time in which the time which I'm aiming for was very much outside my comfort zone.
How do you motivate yourself? So like there are going to be a lot of people out there who through injury or getting older or for whatever reason like might not be chasing their all-time PB. Yeah. How do you motivate yourself to go like, right, okay, I want to get as fast as I possibly can. It's not going to be quite where I was as an Olympian. How do you like motivate yourself on the race and training?
Yeah, so for the 2 or 3 years post-retirement, so I stopped running really the end of 2016 and did have a full year off altogether. And if you'd asked me at any point during that year that I would I have been motivated or taken pleasure in doing what I'm doing now, I'd have said absolutely not. Like those are the times that I can run with my eyes closed in terms of I'm running 100 miles a week, I'm running 12 times a week. Like that stuff is straightforward. But at that point, my body wasn't letting me do it anymore and I sort of wasn't in love with it. Then I got back into it and was just running for the fun of it, but with no focus on times at all. Then I shifted my times that I would measure my runs in from minutes per mile to minutes per kilometre.
Nice.
Because I didn't fully, I could, if I sat down or thought about it in much detail, work out the conversion. But it meant that I wasn't thinking, I used to run all my miles at X minute miling.
Yeah.
I was like, now I'm running these at 4:30 per kilometre or whatever. That sort of, it didn't have the same relationship in my brain with the former life. So I could sort of start again.
Yeah.
That's what I run in my dreams.
4:30 per kilometre. Yeah, sorry.
Same.
So then I have found like the little things, getting in the gym and seeing the weights go up, even just by 1 kilogram or something.
Yeah.
And then
You pumping a bit of iron? I thought
Getting-
those guns have been growing.
getting massive, getting massive.
It is that thing though of like I feel like I've seen loads of messaging. It usually always comes out around New Year's, but I actually quite like it because it's the same with gym work as it is with running in that like people nowadays, especially with social media, you just want like instant results the whole time, but running will
That's
never
true.
be an instant result.
Yeah.
But there's this saying of like, if you start something today, in like 3 weeks, you'll feel a difference. In 3 months, you'll see a difference.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same with like gym stuff. Like you keep at it.
Yeah.
And actually your career was knocking on the door of 10 years ago now.
Brilliant.
Hey, look, it's
7 years
it's
ago,
closer-
beginning of
it's
2017.
closer to
7
10.
years ago.
It's closer to 10 than it is to 5.
That-
But
I mean, 7 is definitely not closer to 10 than it is to 5.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
all right, 5 years ago, whatever you want to call it, 7 years ago,
the nearest
whatever it
decade
was.
is 10 years ago.
But like remembering, like you said, like changing the units, actually remembering what you were doing at the start of this year compared to now, like that's huge.
Yeah, and I've seen quite quick gains, but almost the time frame that you talked about there, not
Flex.
not week on
Quick
week.
gains.
Brilliant.
Bloody hell.
Not week on week, but after 2 or 3 weeks, all of a sudden the pace that was crazy 3 weeks ago, I'm doing for a longer or more sustained interval, or having a shorter recovery, or my heart rate's lower, or I'm doing more of them. That's the bit that motivates me. Where I can see it's meaningful, measurable progress.
So then next question, training for a fast 5K, that's like in your wheelhouse, that's the distance that you enjoy. Now that you're running faster paces for longer, has that got you excited about marathon training?
Yeah, I'm more excited about marathon training because I'm not excited about doing it, actually. It's hard work, isn't it? I think I've like put rose-tinted glasses on to remember, it was lovely, wasn't it, when I had to run 32K with Sarah and Tom. I'm excited about what's possible because last year when I started my marathon blog, I was coming from a very, very low base. of having just tried to build up the gym work. I talked about my knee injuries and stuff like that, where I was almost at the point of 16 weeks out, I'd got up to the point where I could run 2 or 3 times a week, but probably was only running like 10K a week. So they were shorter runs. Whereas now I'm at the point where I'm running 4 times a week, 50 to 60K a week, and a long run on a Sunday, which is probably close to 20K every week. So that starting marathon training from that is just fundamentally so different that I'm interested to see how different it feels.
You're going to enjoy more. And also, it's a different time of year, isn't it, to be training? So you'll train again for your marathon, September
autumn,
to December.
Yeah.
Whereas, most people in the UK are used to marathon training if they're doing London.
Could do it in the
beginning
spring.
of the year. Spring
Yeah,
training.
well, winter, actually.
Winter training, isn't it?
And I did enjoy that. So actually, that's a good mention. So the marathon I am doing is Malaga. We've talked about it, but you have got a chance to come and run either the marathon or the full marathon. So either the marathon or the half marathon with all of us from the Running Channel team, including you two. We haven't decided what you're doing yet.
No.
What
Sarah hasn't decided.
You may have listened to some little interludes between this podcast where I may have said that I might be running a marathon. So far, no one's asked me to. So I'm firmly sitting in the half marathon camp.
We've been told by sports stores there are limited places. So get involved. There is a link in the show notes that you can come and run with us in Malaga, or get in touch with us at podcast@therunningchannel.com.
And lots of people have already signed up already.
Yes.
So I'm so excited. We're so excited to meet you. But now let's talk about your 5K.
The 5K.
The 5K. How was it?
My legs hurt.
So where was it? Let's start there.
We went to the Southwest PB Series in Bath at the Odd Down cycle track there, put on by the Bristol Track Club. It was, so I shout out to them because they were very welcoming, really amazing bunch of people, lovely venue. And they let us go and film as well, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
So I had a lovely experience, although...
Did you go to the spa?
No, of course I didn't go to the spa.
The rooftop spas in Bath. Absolutely amazing. I was there for a stag do a couple of months ago.
So you do nothing but stag do's and spas, do you?
It's genuinely amazing. If you've not been.
Do we need to make a pilgrimage just for the spa?
The rooftop spa in the middle of Bath. Absolutely amazing. You put your phone in this special bag that hides the signal. You're not allowed to bring them in.
Yeah.
And then it's got, I think it's 4 different layers of spas, including one on the roof where you can kind of look out over the whole city, panoramic views. Anyway, we're here to talk about running.
I was going to say, you're listening to the Running Channel podcast with spa expert Rick Kelsey. It was a brilliant location. So it was each lap was roughly 1,500 meters. So it was 3.5-ish laps. On a cycle track, so completely closed roads. There's never any traffic on it because it's a tarmac cycleway.
Oh, right, okay.
Beautiful location. And as we got there, it was actually pretty cold. We have had awful weather.
Yeah.
And it was grey and not rainy or anything, but a bit miserable, a little bit breezy.
And you picked some very short race shorts.
I did. They were very short.
Shorts.
I was in very short shorts. I went all in, singlet and shorts.
And like the vest
2-inch
as
split
well
short,
was
split.
like so low on the sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2-inch split. They're my holiday beach shorts there.
Racing outfit. But actually, as it got 7:15 was the start time. And we've got a video coming out on the Running Channel about it, which essentially diarizes my whole day, with a big focus on the race, obviously. But you see how I was very nervous going through my routine to get to the start line. But basically about 20 minutes before the start, the sun came out, maybe half an hour before. The sun came out, the wind disappeared.
Nice.
It could not have been more perfect.
And you were
racing
ready
conditions.
for it.
Yeah. So it was meant to be. And then there's about 150 of us in the race, mixed race. Really well organised.
Did you win?
No, I did not win. Are we revealing the result here?
Yeah, go on. You can reveal the result.
So I came 7th out of about 150. I didn't actually see how many people finished.
Very nice.
Which I was pretty pleased with. First,
knowing Andy, he's disappointed.
No, I wasn't. I was really chuffed. It was first V40, so first in my age group. And the guys at the front were so much quicker. It wasn't really close. Like they went off at the beginning. And I was like, oh, right, okay. I can't even think about going with them. They're going so fast. And I still went too fast at the beginning. I came 7th, was absolutely buzzing and still am. I ran faster than, it's the fastest I've run over 5K since I retired.
That's amazing.
Nice.
So I ran 15 minutes and 33 seconds.
That's
Which
just rapid.
I want to talk about because, if I went out for a run, like what's the shortest amount of time that you go out for a run for?
Well, it'd be a 5K, so whatever I run 5K and say like 23 minutes would be the shortest.
Are you going to say there was no point in me going out because I was out there for no time at all?
You know, look, if you're building up running, if you're going out for 15 minutes, that is fine. I'm not no shade at all.
No, I know
but
what
it's
you
just,
mean.
you know,
Shade on me there.
15 minutes.
I drove for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. 50 minutes.
Three and a half.
Because 50 minutes, that is a mad time. Because if I could run a 5K in 15 minutes, I could have gone for the run, come back, be eating breakfast, and Chantal would still be in the shower.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But you did do a warm up. You did do a cool down as well. However, I would like to say that me, amongst many other avid Strava users, were very disappointed about how you labelled the post run after the race.
I've had some amazing. So I split my activity. I did do a warm up. So I did run more than 5K and I did run for more than 15 minutes in total.
Good.
And I labelled it as my warm up. That was one activity. Then the event itself with the race name and so on.
Yeah.
And then my warm down.
You don't warm down. Like, what are you warming down?
Lovely Running Channel Strava community.
Heat rises.
So
There we go.
Sarah got involved.
Basic physics.
Sarah just put,
Is it physics?
Yeah.
oh, you've had 78 likes of this on Strava as well. So
Yeah.
this is quite a lot. You just commented
Honestly, Sarah
asterisks.
Hartley on Strava. It's a right old party
Sarah
over there.
follows you. She doesn't follow me.
No. Yeah,
Oh
fair
my
enough.
God, do I still not follow you?
No.
She only follows people
Don't
with
worry. I know we're friends.
I'm
it
I'm
is a bit
so
awkward, but she
sorry.
was telling me off mic that she only follows people with master's degrees. So
Does she follow people who've interviewed 6 prime ministers?
apparently
No,
not.
No, okay.
exclusively not.
No. It has to be seven's
Just leave it there then, Charlie.
the threshold, mate.
Oh, right,
so
okay.
there's still time.
So there's still time. Give it a few weeks.
Yeah. So
Really? Do you think you'll get in that early?
Rick Kelsey is going to be front of the list.
Sorry, yeah.
He's going to be front of the list. Actually,
In the address, once the Prime Minister is
Yeah.
announced, it'll
Yeah.
be like, thank you so much for all of the
the
votes.
10 Downing Street Press Department are going to be straight up.
First question. BBC and Sky aren't here. We'll come to you next. Running Channel.
Yeah, I don't think you interviewed the Prime Ministers as Rick Kelsey from the Running Channel, did you?
No.
That would be strange.
If so, we have never used that information, and we probably never will.
So you commented, asterisk, cool down, angry face.
Yeah.
And then people are, what Sarah Hartley said, definitely cool down. This really confused me. Robert Linton says, only Olympians warm down.
Yeah, no.
No, I was like
No.
that. And then someone says, Sarah Hartley, cold up, surely.
Yeah.
Cold up. Arlene Murphy is making enemies. She
Yeah.
says to me, must be having a senior moment. Absolutely savage, Arlene.
That is harsh.
Yeah.
My gosh.
And then, there's a good point here from Jalma, which is, so if soup is too hot to eat, you need to warm it down first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've
Thank
lost my
you.
argument here.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and then David
come on,
says,
you like science. What does heat do?
warm down. David says, what kind of psycho does a warm down? Must be the same kind of person that does sock shoe.
True.
Oh, when
So,
you got changed from your warm-up shoes into your racing shoes,
Yeah.
did you do sock, shoe?
I didn't change my socks, actually.
Okay, fine.
So,
Did you do shoe? Or did you do shoe?
no, I took both shoes off and then put both shoes
Of
on.
course
Right,
he did.
fine.
Yeah.
Of course he did. Before we
If it was wet, though, I might have had to do it.
in this video, we're going to see what your training regime was like to run this fast 5K.
No training in it. It's my diary of the day.
No. Oh, but you're not going to talk about your training at all.
Nope.
A little
No.
bit.
No.
I don't think so.
But what were you doing to get back to that speed? Because for me, when Sarah and I did it, I just brought in intervals and I was doing 8 by 400 meters, 8 times 400 meters
Yeah.
at full out pace as part of the training. That was the only way I could kind of get that speed that was required. What were you doing?
Yeah, so I was doing training which took me both at race pace and then over, so faster than race pace. And I was still doing my long run, so I still, even though it was only 5K, I still was running 20, 21K on a Sunday. And then I had 2 other runs which were easier recovery runs, and sandwiched between those easier recovery runs was my interval session. And those intervals varied, but one that I really remember was 3K at threshold, so slower than my 5K race pace. It was probably for me that day between 10K and half marathon pace. Then I did something else in the middle. Then I can't remember what I did at the end. No, I did. I'm having a senior moment. Yeah. Then I did 3 sets in the middle of K at race pace, target race pace.
Right.
90 seconds recovery, and then a 400 meter effort at like mile pace, so faster.
There's a lot to it.
So yeah, it was
I
basically.
didn't remember that.
I programmed it into my watch. But yeah,
very
3K, then basically
Which
1K.
watch? The old one.
Yeah, the one you showed us last week. No, I don't think you
Brilliant.
can program anything into
I had
that.
no idea what you were talking about then. Yeah, no, it didn't program it into my old sort of watch that literally just you press stop and start. But yeah, things like that. 2K efforts as well. A session of kind of 4 times 2K. Some of the K.
Full out.
No,
2Ks?
alternating paces actually often.
Oh, really?
And that was really useful for this course because it was slightly, half of the lap was downhill and half of the lap was uphill. Like not big hills, but enough that it changes the way that you have to put effort in.
Alternating paces are so hard because you just have to set a random point of where you stop and start. I always use public bins. I go, right, I'm going to get to that public bin and then slow down.
So there were no bins
Why
on
don't
my
you do it on
course.
distance?
I just like, because then you've got to look
Because
at
he
your
can't use his
It's-
watch, so.
Yeah, it's more.
Have you even got a watch?
He's running
I've got watch.
you
on
have
it,
got a
yeah.
watch on
But it's
still.
just I like it. You know, it's more random.
He just likes running at 300 powers. The but yeah, the summary of it for
400
me
nowadays, actually.
of the race was just oh wow,
Yeah.
Nice.
going big guns.
Yeah. I mean,
you
maybe.
do have
maybe.
the pulse of an ox.
Yeah.
So we
Tiger.
tiger pulse. The best thing about it for me was being competitive and racing against other people, and that's actually a really good thing that alternating pace does for you if you're in a racing situation. That you're not controlling your pace. You're trying to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah.
But if you're kind of latched onto someone, which is often the best way to get dragged around, particularly this is the first race I've done over 5K in such a long time, being swept up in the adrenaline of it that's what was magical for me, being back in the mix. And alternating paces within a single rep in a workout is actually a pretty good gauge or replication of what happens in a race, because people aren't machines. They don't maintain a perfect pace. You're just hanging on to that person. They happen to turn into a section. It's the wind, go around a bend. If you are turning a sharp bend, this course had quite a few sharp bends, you're having to then dig deep because your pace drops to just like over the next 5 to 10 strides to increase your cadence, shorten your stride just to accelerate back up to pace again. And that change in pace is what changing pace in races simulates.
Speaking of changing pace, that was great. But you know what we've got to do next?
The news and your questions. Before we dive into the news, I have a request.
Oh, go on.
I've got a few requests today, so I'm going to dive in with one early. We have been thinking about what different topics we want to do for future episodes, and one that we are going to be tackling is running and dating.
Oh, this is
Do
brilliant.
runners date runners? So we're going to need a bit of help for this one. So can you email in podcast@therunningchannel.com with your stories? Do you date another runner?
Can't wait
How
for this
did you meet? Did you meet at a run club?
Yeah.
Are run clubs the new dating apps? Let us know. I really want to hear some incredible stories. So if you and your partner fell in love through running or didn't, maybe your partner hates running.
Or you got divorced
Let me
through
know.
running.
Oh, yeah, all of the above. And maybe, just maybe, we'll share our own experiences as well.
I don't have
That would be great.
I don't have any experiences to share. Like I just haven't. I
Really?
feel
No.
I live vicariously through all of the lovely young people who get to do dating.
God, you've never sounded older.
No,
Yep.
exactly.
Give me the news.
Bit of football news
Oh, yeah?
to start off with, which is not running related, and I know nothing about football, but hardest geezer, who recently
Yeah, Russ
completed
Cook.
his incredible run across the whole length of
Yes.
Africa, is now running to every single England match at the Euros.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Such a cool idea. So
So
go
he's,
check
so
him
he's
out
probably
on
already
socials.
done 2 games. So
Yeah.
So he's heading to the next game, which is, I think it's Monday or Tuesday, isn't it?
There's
Yeah.
a
Hopefully he can stay awake through all of the games once he's finished. They've got to be lively matches. No?
Yeah. Oh, they will be. They'll be great.
Yeah, obviously, he's coming home.
Yeah. I
Can
mean,
you tell, like,
this might already have
literally-
dated by the time this episode goes out, depending on how the tournament starts. So, those of you not in England or who aren't England supporters, then this is of no interest to you at all. But
It's back in Germany, and in 2006, I was at uni with my mate, and we went to Germany to follow the England team, and we camped. So we got trains between all the games and camped in literally the hottest weather you can imagine. Slept for like 2 hours, and then basically in the daytime bathed in like local fountains, and then went to the games. It was an amazing experience.
What is your life?
Literally amazing experience. But I'm sure Harder Skeezer's doing something far more sophisticated and has a bed. So there you go.
Oh, well, I think that's quite enough news for 1 week.
I've got one small piece, which is
Go
just
on.
that European Championships in athletics recently kind of wrapped up, and it was an amazing spectacle to watch. Interestingly, the crowd seemed to pick up throughout the week, which was really good. And it's almost just a well-wishing note to Jess Judd, who has appeared on the Running Channel before. We documented her approach to the Tokyo Olympics. She actually collapsed during the 10,000 meters at the Europeans. My understanding in recent news stories is that she's okay, but has potentially been diagnosed with a form of epilepsy. And so she had quite a scary seizure on the track. And then I think also in the recovery room or the hospital or the medical room where they took her. So that's terrifying and a little bit sobering. There's an overall summary there that I loved watching the European Championships and seeing sport at that level and lots of new athletes breaking through and some athletes that we're going to see again in Paris in the Olympics.
In such a short period. It is mad, but I suppose, does it always happen where there's only 6 weeks between the European Championships and the Olympics?
The Europeans used to be only every 4 years. 2012 was the first year.
Never every 2.
Yeah, it never used to be an Olympic year before. So 2012 was the first time they did it. Well, yeah, 12.
So it's only happened,
since 2012, it's gone. It went every 2 years. Yeah. Before that, it would go Olympics, World Championships, then a year that had Commonwealths and Europeans at the same year, which actually always meant that there was a year off and there still is, a year off for American athletes, for example, because in Commonwealth Games and Europeans year, they don't have a major championships. Whereas for British athletes, there's always an opportunity to compete every year in the major championships. Then it would go Worlds again, then Olympics, and repeat the cycle.
Because it's gone a bit under the radar, I feel like, this European Championships, because the build-up is so much to the Olympics.
It has meant that it does mean that the Europeans every 4 years, where there's not an Olympic year, is higher standards, not quite the right description, but some athletes have to prioritise the Olympics. So some of Britain's best athletes opted not to do the Europeans and focus on the Olympics, whereas some of the superstars were still there. Keely Hodgkinson defended her title in the 800 metres, for example.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think we should do maybe in the kind of ramp up to the Olympics, a little kind of spotlight on a few people who we're excited to see.
Yes, agree.
Okay, questions?
Robin from Ayrshire in Scotland. Is it cringy to go absolutely full send at the dad's flat race on sports day? Or am I being a bad role model by not giving it 100%? Do I warm up around the corner to avoid getting laughed at? Or for not wanting a big physio bill? Minefield, love the show. Don't dial it back for anyone. Hey, maybe that's my answer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
good job.
Don't dial it back for anyone, Robin. Full send.
Yeah.
Although, didn't you have someone last year, Andy, who broke their ankle in the dad's
so
race?
I've got an experience of this. I've done it once, and it wasn't actually the school sports day, it was the preschool, nursery sports day.
The other dads must have hated seeing you turn
So
up.
I had no intention of doing this, genuinely.
Yeah.
But this was with our oldest child. It feels like aeons ago now. But we've got the kids all do their races, and they've been practicing for ages, and it's very sweet.
Yeah, and it was fine in the end because you realised that all the kids in the race were yours.
It's my nursery.
Yeah, is it just right, kids, out in the back garden, sports day?
It's a one-person parents race because there's no other parents there.
Come on, kids, line up.
It's time for the 4x800. We've got 8 teams this year.
But I was
Littlest is 6 months. They'll be crawling round.
Brilliant. I was hiding at the back. And some of the mums that we knew really well kind of were like, "Hey, this guy ran in the Olympics."
No, you're joking.
No, I'm not joking. And so
I can just imagine your face.
Yeah, I was mortified. So then I was like, "Okay."
I bet you were like, "No."
Yeah.
No,
then I opened my backpack, got my spikes out.
Yeah.
I'd already been foam rollering for 30 minutes. So the weird thing was that because it was a preschool, their running track's 20 meters long for these little kids.
Cute.
So the parents' one wasn't on that running track. It was up this it's a beautiful preschool with open fields behind it and stuff. So it's basically started at the bottom of quite a steep hill with massive holes in it and quite long grass. It was so unsafe. And it was maybe an 80-meter sprint up this hill, maybe 60 meters.
Yeah.
So there's maybe 30, 40 dads lined up at the bottom, some of them in jeans and stuff. I think I might have, it was the summer I had shorts on, but chino shorts.
I love the fact some dads are in jeans.
Yeah.
Love that. Get involved.
And then
Chinos.
I was really, as we were walking down, I was like, what do you do? Someone's just said, you're an Olympian. So you're on absolute hiding to nothing. So either you get hammered, you just don't run hard and you get hammered and then everyone's like, "Hey!" And or you do go all out and then you try and win.
All out.
Yeah.
So what did you decide? You decided all out?
All out, yeah.
I was like, it's such a hard decision. What do I all out?
And
all out.
you came second.
No, I won.
Comfortably?
No.
Really?
No. So with like
imagine
20
if you
meters to
didn't?
go, I just looked, like, had a little look out the side of my eye. I was like, oh no, this is going to be tight. And then I just gave it everything that I had, dipped on the line.
But then straight afterwards, were you trying to like play cool? Like not being like, how's that for you?
Yeah. I was like,
yeah,
let's go again. And then the best thing was, biggest trophy I've ever got in my whole career.
You're joking.
Really?
No, I'm not joking. It was
Sports day.
Yeah, it was massive.
Love that.
But
Robin
I-
from Ayrshire.
oh,
We know
before-
the answer.
Sorry, I have to say Sarah's right that I then turned around and like one of the dads had either broken their ankle or collarbone.
No way.
Yeah.
From falling in a hole.
Yeah, from falling in some way. So yeah, be
That's what it
careful,
takes to
Robin.
be in a
So Robin, there are a couple of learns and takes from that.
Yeah.
One, train for it as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Definitely warm up.
B, don't wear jeans and chinos. And C, if you see Andy Baddeley on the start line with you, just leg it.
I've got a D
Or
as well,
trip
actually,
him up.
which is don't have a list that goes 1, B, C.
Is that what I said?
Just as an impartial observer over here, I can really easily understand why you two have confused your roles.
1 BC. Right, on to our B question. 1 BC. Never
It's
going to live that
It's
down.
like Rick's finishing 5 past the hour.
Yeah.
He's also like,
there is. Don't get me into 5%. There is a lot of thought into that.
Yeah.
Really?
But you finished in D place at the park run the other day.
Yeah,
didn't you?
deep play. No, actually, no. I think I was 2R.
Were you?
So 26 plus whatever R is in the
This doesn't
alphabet.
even make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Right,
I need
Dan.
to talk about Dan from Liverpool. Yes.
Hi, Dan.
So Dan says, I'm running I can't believe I said 1 BC. Right. Literally, that is it, isn't it?
Professional
That's it.
broadcaster.
How annoyed he
Yeah.
Oh, he's so annoyed
Yeah.
because I
Go
can
on,
just imagine him
read
going,
the question, mate. Look,
Yeah,
the time's
right.
running out.
No, no,
I'm
he's-
going
he's
to
gonna-
start waggling my arms around.
next
in a
time he's
sec.
interviewing the Prime Minister and he's going to be like, I've got three
question-
questions for you.
1. B. Q. Right, Dan from Liverpool.
Yeah, you read
Can you
it.
read?
No,
you want me to read it?
You read it.
Oh,
I'll give
no.
the answer.
It's feeling
You read it
proper
out.
inferior now.
He's so cross.
Hi all, I'm Dan from Liverpool. I'm running my first half marathon in September, the Great North Run. I'm currently training using the Runner app and the imported workouts and paces are great. However, I want to make the most out of my watch on race day itself. What watch metrics are best? I've seen some content on Garmin's Pace Pro, but it'd be great to get your opinions. Ooh. Well, this is coming up in a future video, so go check it out on YouTube. It will be called Top Garmin Tips from the Experts, potentially, but search it out. There are
You have to
some...
put it with me talking about it though, don't you?
It'll be Andy, but there are some really, really cool features which we'll give you a little sneak preview to that have been around for ages, but I have not been utilising. You've got 2 things which I think will be really cool. So virtual partner and training target. Virtual partner is the one that I would love to use in a race. If you want to run kind of like a really like equal split time, which potentially Great North Run is a little bit hilly, so this might not be best. Pace Pro is probably your best bet. 'cause
Also,
that-
depending on the wind, you can. I think once you come into the last couple of kilometres, you're turning along the front, and it's
Oh, fair, super
quite
windy.
But yeah,
But that one, you can essentially put in, okay, I want to run a half marathon at this time. And then the data screen that appears on your watch is basically, it's 2 runners. One is that running that super even pace and the other one is you. So you've got that visual representation of like how far ahead or behind, and you've got as well like time ahead, time and your estimated finish time as well, which is really useful because especially in a half marathon, we've all been there. We're trying to do the maths halfway through and you can't quite work it out. So maybe having a
How
combination of
reliable
Pace
is
Pro
that, though?
and that.
An estimated finishing time if you know that you always lag in the last 3K?
Well, so that's kind of your, if you stick at this pace, that's what your finish time is
so you
going
need
to
a little
be.
bit of a buffer there potentially.
But then that's quite useful because sometimes, you know, if you're trying to do the maths of like first kilometre 540, second kilometre 550, third kilometre 530, suddenly
shows
the
you where
maths
you
is
would
like
be at.
it's running away,
That is
it
quite
evens
cool.
it out.
So
Yeah.
can I put that on my screen at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
right.
Pace Pro is a way of doing exactly what we've described there actually.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a course like potentially the Great North Run where there is some undulations in it, then you can plot a pacing strategy to correspond to that, either automatically or manually. So you could say, I'm deliberately going to run slower up this hill, and then down this hill I'm expecting to gain a little bit of time back.
Oh, that is,
Yeah.
that's
So-
a
so-
lot
And then
of plotting.
also, no,
Well,
because
no,
it does it all for you. So
Yeah.
you plug in the route of the GPX, then
Right.
it will literally work it out for you. So it will tell you, okay, hill, go slower, downhill, go faster. The other one I think that's not to be ignored either, lap pace screen.
Yes,
Of,
that's
like,
what I was going to say. Keep
lap
it
pace,
simple.
lap time.
I would keep it simple, because if you're thinking about all the metrics constantly, all the time, you're not actually thinking about the race itself and how your body's feeling.
Yeah, but it depends on the kind of person you are. You might like, during certain elements of it, a little bit of distraction, and therefore flicking through your watch screens might distract you. But I generally would just like, I have my race screen is usually just
Your current pace.
total time, lap pace, and then in lap time.
Yeah.
I think current pace is a bit distracting as well. So if you're going up a hill and you're down to kind of,
That's-
7 minutes a kilometre, you're like, oh, well, this isn't going
Yeah, that's why
well.
I would always use lap pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
Oh, I might get you to reset my watch a little bit. Great. Let's play with some screens.
Great. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Oh, very important. Before we go, we meant to do this last week. We wanted to talk about the British Podcast Awards, didn't we?
Yes. So there is a Listener's Choice Award, and very cheekily, we're going to ask if you enjoy listening or watching to this podcast, we would love you to vote for us. All you have to do is just search for... A, search for the British Podcast Awards.
2,
Type in the running channel.
C.
Vote for us. We would absolutely love your vote. If you are enjoying listening to the podcast, hopefully we can get enough of your votes and win an award, and then we'll never shut up about it.
So that was one request. And a final one is just a reminder that we've got this opportunity to come around with us in Malaga in the marathon or the half marathon. So there'll be a link in the description on YouTube or in the show notes on the podcast.
Yeah, check it out. So that's just a few small asks.
Yeah,
Don't forget to
not
email
much.
in your dating stories as well, and we'll
yeah.
see you next time.